this is Amy. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to show you how I painted this lovely grape-inspired wine glass. It is a 20-ounce red wine glass and it's hand-painted with FolkArt Enamels and Multisurface paint. I have already cleaned this glass that I'm going to be using and it's ready to go. So let me go ahead and tell you the brushes that I'm going to be using. It's a number 10 flat brush. It's a one-stroke brush by Plaid. And then my favorite fine line brush, which is actually a fingernail painting brush, and it's a brush by Westonia. I'm also going to be using this little tool by Martha Stewart. It's a sponge and I'll be using it to make the grapes. These are a little bit bigger than what I really wanted to use. I have one that's a little bit smaller, but I'm not sure exactly where it's at. I think it might be out in my garage. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, even though the grapes will be a little bit bigger. If you want them smaller, obviously use a smaller tool to make your grapes. I'm going to be using Real Brown, which is the Multisurface by FolkArt. All these are FolkArt paints. Violet Pansy, which is Multisurface. Light Lavender, which is also Multisurface. Thicket, which is the enamel paint. Wicker White, said it backwards, is enamel. And then the Warm White, which is also enamel. And then Citrus Green. Actually, yeah, that's right. Citrus Green. Thinking I was saying that wrong. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to double load my brush using the brown and the warm white. And again, the way I load my brush isn't actually necessarily consistent with the proper way to do it as far as one stroke goes. And you'll find too, if you get used to painting, that you'll create your own way of doing things. But I'm basically at this point just going around the brush and doing the vine first. And this is going to be my grapevine. Now I like to go in both directions when I'm doing mine, just so that it doesn't look like it's all going in one direction. It's just my preference. You can go around in one direction if you choose. It's not a big deal. Most of this vine will be covered up. And I just keep dipping my brush into the paint. Like I said, I'm not a big going back and forth person on the brush. It should typically be loaded 3/4 of a way in the bristles. But like I said, I just do it and keep adding to it. And it's just fun to go ahead and go just whimsically around the glass. Most of this will be covered up, so it's not really too important. I mean, it's important, but it's not. You just got to keep in mind that it will not show a lot of it on the outside, at least, once you're done. So you can do big branches, little branches, just finish it however you want. Just kind of look it over and make sure that you have the branches going up and throughout the process, so it's not barren, I guess. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so here we go. Have the branches in. Pretty happy with the way they look at this point. Now if you're watching this video and it's the first time you've been to my channel, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so that you get the notifications whenever I post something new. I am trying to post more frequently, so you might get a lot of different notifications from me, but I am trying to do it more frequently. Alright, now I am going to double load my brush. It's the number 10 brush still. just using 2 brushes on this painting. And then I'm going to go ahead and start putting in some of the leaves. And I'm trying to turn them sideways so that they're not just straight up and down. Now, if for some reason that's how you want to do yours, you can do them straight up and down if you choose to. But I basically have the 2 different colors, as you can see, on my brush. And then I'm just doing like a wiggly, ruffled leaf. Now keep in mind too that when you're doing this, I'm just trying to make it look like it has some movement to it. So that's why I'm making them go in different directions. And I'm going to do that throughout painting the glass. So I'll turn this one, it'll be heading the direction I'm going in. Well, towards me I should say, I guess. I'm not going anyplace right at the moment. And I did not actually give this any drying time or hit it with a dryer. So if you want to, while you're doing your glass, you can either allow it to dry on its own, maybe give it an hour or so, and then paint the next part of the design, or hit it with a heat gun or a hair dryer, whatever you have. I just decided to go ahead and continue painting without stopping the video. I don't know if my camera's having some problems, but I find that there's a funny noise when I do that, no matter what I'm trying to do on my video editing, and I don't really care for the noise, so I thought let's give this a try and see if this works a little bit better. Alright. Now, have you ever tried to paint this type of a design on glass before? If you have, tell me yes down below, and how did you like it? I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on screen here. And I apologize if I get off because I'm concentrating on painting and then I realize sometimes my design kind of floats off of the screen. This video is meant to be easy. It's meant to be something that a lot of people can do. If you're an experienced painter and you want to do this design but add your own twist to it, I always recommend, no matter what you're doing, you put your personality into your painting. You know, we all may have a similar technique, but not necessarily paint it identically, which is fine. We're all different, right? Alrighty here. Have you ever hosted a painting party? Be kind of interesting to see how many of you have ever had your friends over to do something like this. Okay, let me make sure I'm not doing this the same direction here. If they overlap a little bit, that's perfectly fine. Now, if you're somebody who would prefer that your design be straight up and down, go for it. I mean, it's a matter, like I said, I probably say this too much. I just really feel like if you're happy with what you're doing, then that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how somebody else is doing it. You need to be happy with what you're doing, what you're creating. Alright, and then I'm just going to put one more on here. I'm not a big fan of having a lot of paint on my brush, so I do have a tendency to scrape it off as I'm going. Now see, in this one here, I'm pulling in a little bit of the brown that's not dry from underneath. That's fine, because that can give it interest. Having a third color involved in your design, you know, it's not uncommon to actually do that on purpose. So you double load your brush, and then you might tip your bristle into another color, and then continue on. It just gives it some more interest. That's all. Alright, so I'm going to set this brush aside here for a few minutes. Now with this next part, very easy. My grapes are just meant to be very nondescript, basically. They're just more of a, I don't know how to say it, more of a, I'm losing my thoughts here, I'm sorry, abstract-y kind of way. If you want yours to be more pronounced, that's fine. This particular tool that I'm using, again, like I said, I would definitely, if I could find my smaller one, that's what I would be using. But I wanted to do this video, so I thought I'll just go ahead and do it with this. But I basically tip it into the paint, and then I'm going to brush some of it off, or not brush it off, but tap it on the plate. And then I'm going to come up here. Now because this paint is wet still, what I just put it in, you may pull in some green, and that's fine. You just know that these are really going to be, I don't even know how to say it, they're not going to be real distinct as far as the definition of each grape per se. Now you could, if you wanted them to really stand out, you could go through with your liner brush and make them more distinct and separated. I don't really choose to do that. I think they're fine the way that I'm painting them. This is how I want them to be. So this is a part where you as a painter have to decide, do I like that look, or do I want it to be more distinct and not so, you know, abstract looking. You know, we all have our different interests in how we like things to look. So whatever kind of look you're going for is what you need to be concentrating on. Now, like I said, with this process, you could actually, you know, go back over them as they dry. You could do a liner brush and outline them to make them be, you know, set them apart a little bit. I'm not really so concerned about that. But like I said, you can keep working them. Like I said, I'm putting more color. You know, just do like a little twist to it, so it's not so. And there are other tools that you can do, you know, use to make grapes. It doesn't have to be this particular. I think One Stroke has some neat tools, but the ones that I used to have, I used them so much they fell apart. So I'm using this, which is the Martha Stewart brand. Alright, so let's turn and let's concentrate on the next set. I'm only doing 2 sets because they'll start and kind of wind around and meet up. And you can pounce, you can go like that. Add more color. Make them more distinct. You can even add like berry wine or something like that into it to give it a different look. Yeah, bundles of grapes are always different shapes. They're not really set and identical. They're not always going to be the same shape. Let's see, like I said, you can put more paint on to make them more distinguishable, or not as much. And it depends too on how you're pouncing it. I think makes a difference too. See, they kind of come around and meet. But it's neat. I mean, it's a neat look. I think it. Do you like it? If you like it, give me a yes down below. Again, make sure if you haven't already subscribed to my channel that you do so now. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and you share it with your friends and your family. Anybody who you think might like this video. I do, you know, a lot of different paintings, not just glass. Focusing mainly on glass though. That's what I like. Alright, so here we are with this. Like I said, it's, you know, make your grape bundles however you want them to be. You can have them kind of hanging out together as far as all bunched. Some come out from there. You know, just really just keep working on them until you get them the way you want them. And I think that's fine. I like it like that. Alright, next step. Getting close to the end, but the next step is going to be to come back in here and finish off the tops, and this is where I'm going to probably lose you again. Finish off the tops, and I just am doing the squiggly, wiggly leaf. And then just pulling it. You can have it come down over the grapes if you want. I'm just trying to do it at the top, especially since I have not hit this with a dryer at all. And I'm sorry about the background noise. That's my my air conditioner. Let's say furnace, but I forgot that it's summer. Well, almost summer. Alright. Okay. Now, if you're going to bake your glass, if you paint this and you're going to bake it, please make sure that you allow at least an hour drying time before you do so, and that you place it in a cold oven before you turn it on, and add your preheat time to your bake time. The FolkArt paints require half an hour of baking at 350. If you're using a different brand, I would recommend you follow the manufacturer's guide to that, because they're all different, even as far as the amount of time, air drying time. But definitely follow their manufacturer's suggestions on their bottles, because that will give you the best results. Because you don't want your glass to not be durable when you're done painting it. Alright, so I added a few little leaves just up here, going up in that direction. Anybody that's seen any of my past videos know I like a lot of leaves, so if you don't, then you don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm just filling in some of the open spaces. And you can go over the grapes a little bit if you want. And keep in mind, you may pull in some of the purple into your next stroke, but that's okay. It's not a problem. Alright, so right there we're done with the leaves, we're done with the grapes. Time for my favorite brush. What I'm going to do with this is dip it a little bit into my brown, dip it into the warm white, and then I'm going to just do some curly. Now with this brush, because it is so thin, they're not going to be real noticeable. It's just fine. I don't care if they are. I know I can see them, I know that they're there. You can go over them a little bit, but I'm just going to do it throughout the glass and just very lightly put some interest into this. Again, it's not very noticeable, but you can see it. I mean, maybe not on the video very well, but you can see it. It's just very light. And it's just those little curly cues that come out of come down. If you've ever seen a grapevine wreath, you'll know what I'm talking about. And like I said, if you have a thicker liner brush you want to use, I just happen to really like this liner brush, so that's why I use it. Alright, so here we are. We are finished. And so we have 2 beautifully painted wine glasses, and you can let them air dry, bake them at 350 degrees for 30 minutes plus the time that you have to add on for your preheat time. Please do not put these in a hot oven. Put them in, then turn the oven on. You'll get better results that way. If not, you may risk the chance of your glass breaking. Alright, I hope you like this video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a big thumbs up. Like this video, share it with your friends and family. And until the next video, have a good one.